What's happening, my friends? It's Cast Sports again, back for another afternoon with the family. Now, as usual, before I get started, let me give a shout out to the JBT community. It's just boxing talk. We're a group of people who just love to talk boxing. And we're always looking for others to join us. And you don't have to have a podcast. The only requirement is you just have to love to talk boxing. That's all. Miss Cass, hashtag JBT. Thomas Hill, hashtag JBT. Let's Talk Fashion, aka Remo, hashtag JBT. The Boxing Menu Podcast Plus. Coach Thomas Morris, Mike Masick. Salute to everyone, and welcome to another episode of Cast Sports, The Box Storian. Today, boxing's oldest and youngest champion. How's everybody doing this Tuesday afternoon? You know what time it is. If it's Monday through Friday, 2 p.m., it's the Box Story. That's me, your friendly neighborhood box historian, bringing you all that boxing history, the greatest sport of them all. That's why we love it and can't get enough of it. Another big boxing week. We got this is a Pro Box week. We got AB and Blair the Flair Friday, and then we got Patrick Teixeira and Xander Zayas Saturday. I'm not hearing enough people talking about that Saturday fight. That probably will be more competitive than the better fight than AB and Blair the Flair, I think. Big step up for Xander Zayas. But yes, today we're going to talk about an oldest champions from each of the 17 weight divisions. Now I couldn't find the youngest for the bantamweight division, but the rest of them, I got them all. Everybody okay this Tuesday afternoon? Appreciate everybody stopping by for another episode of Cast Sports. I try to wait till about 2:30 to get the show started. But it looks like a whole bunch of folks in here today, so we might start about 2:15. Try to wait on people like Lonnie Lee and Al Booger. They always show up. But Lonnie Lee gets off at 2:30, and he's a big time supporter that's here every day. Wouldn't be fair. We haven't missed so much of the show. We're going to start in about 5 minutes today. Appreciate that wonderful introduction from Jay Hardcore to Hangout. He brought it all the way up to the door again today. I can tell by all the folks in here. Hope y'all stick around and enjoy the show. It's going to be good. Those two guys right there, they are the youngest and oldest for the heavyweight division, On Mike and Big George. I believe Big George was 45, on Mike was 20, but we're going to talk about it very shortly. From heavyweight all the way down to strawweight. Strawweight / minimum weight, whatever you want to call it. 105. Yeah, that's down there. But like I said, I couldn't find the youngest champion for bantamweight. I looked all over. I just couldn't do it. And we got the NBA Finals coming up Thursday. Don't forget, I'm doing daily updates on that, on the basketball playoffs. We got the Dallas Mavericks at the Boston Celtics. Boston will have the home court. I'm leaning Boston. I don't know if KP, the big man for Boston, if he's still injured or if he's healthy. If he's healthy, Boston all the way. If he's not healthy, I'm still leaning Boston, but I give Dallas a decent shot. if Boston is without their big man. But it should be a good series. We'll get a repeat. Denver got eliminated. But this is boxing today. That's a big card Friday. I counted like 14 fights on it. And then, of course, Saturday is top ranking a lot of their young stars. You know, Xander Zayas is the the main. Then we got Bruce Carrington, Tiger Johnson, Jahai Tucker. Ryan Frazier, salute. How are you today, Ryan Frazier? I was listening to you over there in the hangout this morning. Very knowledgeable boxing guy, Ryan Frazier. From Canada. Just like our own Miss Joette. But salute and welcome, Ryan Frazier. We're going to be talking about the youngest and oldest fighters from each weight division in a few minutes. All 17 of them. I'm going to go right down the line. And then a little profile briefly on each one of them as we go through. Yep. That's what we're doing today on Cast Sports, the Boxtorian. Well, let me preview the week real quick. Okay, of course, yesterday was the JBT panel discussion, where I dropped the link, and the entire show is just a discussion about boxing, all things boxing. And today, boxing's youngest and oldest champions. Tomorrow is going to be, I always take a show on Wednesdays that's suggested to me by someone in the chat. And this week is brought to you by Remo. And it's going to be on Ring Announcers. Yeah, I cover everything boxing over here. We're going to talk about some famous ring announcers over the years. Talk about their life and careers. Ring announcers tomorrow. And then Thursday is going to be about amateur boxing. I don't think I ever did a show on amateur boxing. History of amateur boxing. Some of the guys that had great amateur careers. Thursday is going to be all about amateur boxing. And then Friday is profile day on Cast Sports. And this week, the profile will be the Manassas Mauler, Jack Dempsey. One of the toughest men to ever step in a boxing ring. Jack Dempsey, yeah. And Jack was he was one of the first one that really made boxing popular back in the 20s. He was one of the big five of sports. There was Jack Dempsey in boxing, Babe Ruth in baseball, Bill Tilden in tennis, Bobby Jones in golf, and Red Grange in football. The big five of sports in the 20s. And guess what? Jack Dempsey was thought to be the most popular of all of them. Dated and married Hollywood starlets. Not starlets, plural. Yeah. Jack was tough inside the ring, and he played hard outside the ring, too. So let's get ready to start today's show. We got a full house for me in here already. How's everybody doing this Tuesday afternoon? Still early in the week. And remember, it's a Pro Box week. A lot of people sleep on their Pro Box. That's a good program. See some good up-and-coming young boxers, or see some old guys trying to get one last shot, you know? Pro Box, yeah. I've seen Bomac on there about 3 or 4 times with Keyshawn's brother and other boxers. I think he was on the last one. He had the guy that fought the Ukrainian guy, the guy that fought him. He stopped him in the main event, Bomac. That was one of his fighters. Yeah. So you don't know what you see on Pro Box. There's Tim Layton, hashtag JBT in the building. What's up, Tim Layton? You're just in time. Getting ready to talk about the oldest and youngest boxers who win a title in each weight division. Wilfred Benitez he did it in a couple of them. You know, at junior welterweight, he was 17. That's the youngest for all of boxing. And he also did it at junior middleweight. He was the youngest to win a title there. I didn't know that. But yeah, I couldn't find anybody any younger than Wilfred at junior middleweight. So he did it in 2 weight classes. Everybody knows about junior welterweight when he was 17. Yeah. and the fifth king. Although there were only 4 kings in the deck, Wolford fought all the 4 kings except Hagler. Actually beat Duran, so yeah. You could call him the fifth king. Bruce Gass, boxing, jazz, and more. Salute, Bruce Gass. How are you today, bro? If you like history, that's a good channel to check out, Bruce Gass. That's where the box historian goes to get his history. Over there from Bruce Gass. Never know what you might not find over there. Tim Witherspoon had Reggie Sweet Johnson and Tim on there at the same time a couple weeks ago. Yep. Calls fights. But salute, Bruce Gass, boxing, jazz, and more. Welcome. We're going to be talking about oldest and youngest champions today. See, Big George and Mike. That's the heavyweight division, youngest and oldest ever. Big George had the record for a while for the oldest overall, but B-Hop took that away from him. B-Hop broke his own record 2 times. We're going to talk about it. Wind up at 49. Bernard Hopkins. Stayed around too long, though. Remember, he got knocked through the ropes in his last fight. Remember the statement? A white boy will never beat me. But a white fighter knocked him through the ropes. Remember that? B-Hop. Yeah. So let's get started. Okay. Boxing's oldest and youngest champions on Cash Sports today. Let's get this party started. Who used to say that? One of those wrestlers, I think it was, the ring announcer, which we're doing tomorrow. Okay. Now, winning world titles at an advanced age, that's nothing new. It didn't just start. Bob Fitzsimmons was the first 40-year-old to win a championship. Okay. He did it he won the light heavyweight championship at 40 in 1903. And that record lasted for almost 100 years until 1994, when Big George Foreman won the heavyweight championship at 45 years old, right? So then everybody was thinking, well, that record will never be broken, 45 heavyweight. But in May 2011, Bernard Hopkins came along and won the title at light heavyweight at 46 years old. And then B-Hop broke his own record 2 times. He won another light heavyweight title at 48, and then he won it again at 49. And that's the oldest for all of boxing, 49 years old by B-Hop. And nowadays, boxers are fighting into their late 30s and early 40s on a regular basis, And of the 10 oldest boxers to win a world championship, 7 of them have accomplished it in the last 20 years. Okay? And this longevity that's going on now is due to modern training methods and better dietary habits. Now, but while age and experience certainly have their place in the fight game, youthful energy and raw talent have also been enough to produce world champions. Okay? Now, some fighters are naturally skilled and born to perform inside the ring. Okay, no matter the age, and they move with speed, explosiveness, and they often throw caution to the wind and just rely on their natural physical gifts. And the more they progress in their careers, the better they get. And it's definitely impressive to see a young fighter climb the ladder and reach the top in a short period of time. And today we are going to look at the youngsters who won championships early at the beginning of their careers, and the old guys who won championships late toward the end of their careers. Okay? Going to be the youngest and the oldest boxers who win championships in each weight division. We're going to start at heavyweight, work our way all the way down to strawweight or minimum weight, whichever one you want to call it. We drop that down a little bit. But 105. Heavyweight, all the way down to 105. Got a little slide presentation for you as we go through. I can barely hear that. Bear with me while I get the volume right. That's good enough. Okay, we're going to start at heavyweight, and of course, the oldest guy at heavyweight to win a world title, like I just said, was Big George. There's Big George. Just Do Boxing in the building. And Gregory Pratt. Just Do Boxing, the voice in the building. And Gregory Pratt, a.k.a. GP, hashtag JBT, in the building. Salute, gentlemen. Today we're going through all the weight classes, and we're going to talk about the youngest and the oldest boxer for each weight class. I got them all except I couldn't find the youngest boxer at bantamweight. Anybody know who the youngest boxer to win a world championship at bantamweight was? I know if Al Booker was in here, he would find it. Al Booker is good at that kind of stuff. But salute to Just Do Boxing, the voice, and Gregory Pratt. Just Do Boxing coming up at 4 p.m. That's who I'm warming you up for. But yeah, Big George. I'm trying to make sure I didn't miss greeting anybody. Yeah. Okay. Big George Foreman. Is the oldest boxer to win the World Heavyweight Championship. He regains his title at age 45 in 1994. Okay. Now, Big George was born on January 10th, 1949 in Marshall, Texas, okay? And he had previously held the title from 1973 to 1974. And he originally retired in 1977. Then he came back in 87, and then he retired for good again in 1997. But in November 1994, Big George knocked out Michael Moorer in the 10th round with a big right hand to win the IBF and WBC titles at 45 years old. And guess what? Big George was behind on the cards at the time of the knockout. So there he is, the oldest man to win the heavyweight title, Big George Foreman. It's just going to be a little brief discussion about each guy. Then we move on to the younger guy. You know who that is at heavyweight. Iron Mike Tyson. There's Iron Mike on that deadly right hand to Trevor Berbick. That's who he won the title against to become the youngest. Trevor Berbick. And there they go. Mike Tyson is the youngest boxer to ever win the World Heavyweight Championship, claiming the title at 20 years old in 1986. Okay? And Mike was also the first heavyweight to hold a WBA, WBC, and IBF title simultaneously. So Mike was the first three-belt undisputed heavyweight champion. Okay? Now, his professional boxing career record was 50 wins, 44 by knockout, and 6 losses. And he had 2 no contests. You know what one of those no contests was, right? The bite fight. But on November 20th, 1986, Iron Mike stopped Trevor Berbick in the 2nd round by TKO to win the WBC Heavyweight Championship. And at the time, Mike was 20 years old and 4 months. 20 years and 4 months old. And I remember that fight. Trevor Berbick looked like he would rather be anywhere than right there with Mike that day. But yeah, Mike Tyson. And by the way, George Foreman had a total of 76 wins and 5 losses during his legendary career. Let's drop down to cruiserweight now, okay? Cruiserweight. The oldest man to win the title at cruiserweight is Virgil Hill. Okay. At the time, he's 42 years old when he accomplished that feat. And Hill is a two-division world champion, having held the WBA and the IBF light heavyweight titles, and the WBA cruiserweight title. And Hill also won a silver medal at the 1984 Summer Olympics on that great Olympic team, arguably one of the greatest Olympic teams ever, along with that 76 United States team. And I'm not just talking United States Olympic teams, I'm talking greatest ever of any country. That 76 and 84. 80 was pretty good too, but they didn't get to go, remember. But you're Virgil Hill. On January 27th, 2006, a little over a week after his 42nd birthday, Virgil Hill beat previously unbeaten Russian Valery Brudov by a unanimous 12-round decision to win the WBA cruiserweight title. And that's what made him the oldest man at cruiserweight to win a title. And Hill finished his career with a record of 51 wins, 7 losses, 24 knockouts. Now, the youngest man that I found at cruiserweight was John Henry Lewis. There's John Henry. No, excuse. Carlos de Leon. I'm getting ahead of myself. There's Carlos de Leon. Carlos on the right. Carlos de Leon. Sorry about that. Now, yeah, he's the youngest boxer to win the cruiserweight championship when he was 21 years old. Okay. Now, Carlos de Leon also made history by becoming the first 2-time cruiserweight champion. And he reigned as cruiserweight champion a total of 4 different times, breaking his own record twice. Yep. And on November 25th, 1980, anybody recognize that date? I'm going to tell you in a minute. On November 25th, 1980, Carlos de Leon outpointed champion Marvin Camel. And remember, I told you before, Marvin Camel was the first ever champion of the cruiserweight division because it just started like 79, somewhere around in there. And Carlos de Leon beat him. And he was 21 years old at the time. He beat him by a 15-round majority decision. And this fight was on the undercard of the famous No Mas rematch between Sugar Ray Leonard and Roberto Duran down there in New Orleans. That's why I was asking anybody recognize that date. Yeah, this was on the Duran-Leonard No Mas rematch. And de Leon finished his career with 52 wins, 8 losses, 1 draw, 32 knockouts. Okay? Light heavyweight. You already know who's light heavyweight. B-Hop. About some in your podcast say Adrian and Blair the Flair going at it. Yeah, I figured that would happen between those two. Yeah. Presser might be better than the fight. I think the fight this weekend is going to be the big fight is Patrick Teixeira and Xander Zayas. I think that'll be the better one. But at light heavyweight, Bernard Hopkins at age 46 became the oldest boxer to win a major championship and also the oldest to be light heavyweight champion on May 21st when he took the WBC title from Canada's John Pascal by unanimous decision. Now, after losing the title in 2012, Hopkins broke his own record on March 9th, 2013 by defeating IBF light heavyweight champion Tavares Cloud by a 12-round unanimous decision. And at that time, Hopkins was 48 years old. Then, on April 19th, 2014, Hopkins broke his own record again at 49 years old. He won the WBA title in a unification fight with Greatwood Shumanov. Hopkins beat Shumanov by a 12-round split decision. And in this fight, Hopkins also became the oldest boxer in history to unify titles in a weight division. So a lot of firsts for B-Hop. And B-Hop finished his career 55-8, 2 draws, 32 knockouts. Yeah, now here's John Henry Lewis. John Henry Lewis was the youngest boxer to win the light heavyweight title. I had said cruiserweight, but yeah, it was light heavyweight. Yeah, Wilford. Yeah, we coming up. Yeah, boxing Manny Parker. Wilford got 2 divisions. But he was youngest. I did not know that, but yeah, he's got 2 of them. We all knew about junior welterweight, but he also got another one. But light heavyweight, the youngest is John Henry Lewis. Now, John Henry Lewis, he had a 3-year reign as champion from 1935 to 1938. Now, get this. John Henry Lewis fought 117 professional fights in just an 8-year career, 1931 to 1939. That is an average of 14 fights per year. Incredible. Okay? And on October 31st, 1935, John Henry Lewis defeated Bob Olin by a 15-round unanimous decision to become the world light heavyweight champion. He was 21 years old at the time. Now, in the final fight of his career, he challenged heavyweight champion Joe Louis, who he was close friends with. And at the time, John Henry Lewis was almost blind in one eye. And the story goes that Joe Louis gave his good friend John Henry Lewis the title shot so he could have one more big payday before the boxing commissions took his title due to his eye issue. And the result of the fight was a first-round knockout by Joe Louis. And it's said that Joe Louis knocked him out in the first round because he knew about John Henry's eye issues and he didn't want to hurt him too much. So, what a friend. Give you one more shot for a big payday before they take your license, and then take it easy on you by knocking you out in the first round. What a friend. But John Henry, anyway, he ended up with 101 wins, 11 losses, 5 draws, 58 knockouts. And remember, he did all that in 8 years. That averages 14 fights per year. Incredible. Let's drop the super middleweight now, okay? Super middleweight. Start with the oldest. At super middleweight. That's Dulaney Malinga. Okay? Dulaney D for the win in the building. Salute D for the win. Yeah. We're just going over the oldest and youngest of each division today, D. That's all. We're down. You didn't miss much. We're down to we're just at super middleweight. So we just did what? Heavyweight, cruiserweight, light heavyweight. Super middleweight. Going through all 17 of them. Okay? Might have some link time at the end in case, so we can just go over this, you know? But salute D for the win in the building. Okay. Man, I've got a lot of people. Jay Hardcore should go up to 2 o'clock every day. Jay might be listening. You should go to 2 o'clock every day if you're listening, Jay. But anyway, the oldest man to win the world championship at super middleweight is Dulaney Malinga. That's him on the screen there. And he won the title 2 times after his 40th birthday. And he's the 3rd oldest fighter to win a world title, behind legendary former champions George Foreman and Bernard Hopper. And he's the oldest fighter to win the super middleweight title, right? Dulaney was born in South Africa on December 11, 1955. Excuse me for a minute. Man, always come cut the grass right at 2 o'clock. But hey, it's gotta be. They always right by the window with my office at it. But it's all good. At least it's getting cut right. Okay. Dulaney Malinga. Yeah. Yeah, he was the oldest fighter to win the super middleweight title. Born in South Africa. And on March 2nd, 1996, at 40 years old, he won a rematch with Nigel Benn. And he beat Nigel by a 12-round split decision to capture the WBC super middleweight title. Then, After losing it later that same year, he recaptured it on December 12th, 1997, by defeating Robin Reed by a 12-round decision. Okay? And then he became the oldest boxer. They won the super middleweight division. And after that fight, he was 42 years old. Okay? And he finished his career with a record of 44 wins, 13 losses, and 19 knockouts. And the youngest man at super middleweight was the Mexican monster, David Benavidez. Here's the monster. Yep. And David Benavidez is still one of boxing's most exciting young fighters. And he's the youngest world champion in super middleweight history. And he got there by defeating Ronald Gabriel in September 2017. And he won the WBC title. Okay? And he was 20 years old when he did that. Now, Benavidez is currently still undefeated after 28 fights. And he's become one of boxing's biggest stars, with names on his resume like Anthony Dirrell, Caleb Plant, and Demetrius Andrade. Okay? And the future looks bright for Benavidez. Along with his 28 wins, he has 24 knockouts. David Benavidez, youngest champion to ever win a title at super middleweight at 20 years old, the Mexican monster. I did not know that. I'm learning too. So we dropped down to middleweight. Okay? That is Sam Sulaiman, hard-nosed fighter. Now, he lost several fights on his way up the professional ladder, but he never let the hard luck defeats affect him. And he surprisingly won the IBF middleweight title in 2014 at age 40. And that's what made him the oldest boxer to win a title in the division. And he's from Melbourne, Australia. He originally won the IBF middleweight title in 2013 when he defeated Felix Sturm. But the decision was overturned when a banned substance was found in Sulaiman's system. And the title was returned to Sturm, okay? But on May 31st, 2014, Sulaiman was granted a rematch with Sturm. And he earned the 12-round unanimous decision. Defeated Sturm again. And this is the fight that made him the oldest boxer in the world middleweight division. Oldest boxer to win a world championship in the middleweight division at 40 years old. Final record 49-19, 1 draw, 19 knockouts. Sam Sulaiman. I serve 88, and there's hardcore boxing news. Jay, I was just saying, you might have to go to 2 o'clock every day. Jay said, are you crazy? But salute to Jay Hardcore in the building. And I serve 88. We are down to the middleweight division. Just talked about the oldest man at middleweight. Yeah, the Mexican monster was the oldest super middleweight champion, Jay. I mean, youngest. David Benavidez at 20 years old. Youngest man to ever win a title at super middleweight. Yeah, and I did not know that. I knew he was young, but I did not know that. But I know now. I serve 88 hashtag JBT. Jay Hardcore hashtag JBT in the building. JBT in here deep. Well, everybody's JBT in here. What am I talking about? Everybody don't put it behind the name, but everybody's JBT. And we're on the way to that 40 likes today, too. Now, let's go to the youngest person at middleweight. Al McCoy. There's Al, old school fighter, back from the era I love. Al McCoy became the youngest boxer to win the World Middleweight Championship on April 7th, 1914, when he knocked out the original champion, George Chip Just 1 minute and 50 seconds into the first round. Okay. He was 19 years old at the time. Now, McCoy was originally scheduled to fight Joe Chip, who was George's brother, in a non-title fight in April 1914. But Joe fell ill, and his brother, the middleweight champion, George Chip, stepped in to replace him. And he was going up against the little-known 19-year-old Al McCoy. He did not think his title was in any kind of danger, but Al McCoy shockingly won the middleweight title and is currently still the youngest champion in the division's history. Al McCoy, there he is. Shocked the world. The guy's brother got sick. It was a non-title fight, so his brother said, I'll put my belt up against this little young guy, get some rounds in, but he got beat. Yep, but he's the youngest middleweight champion at 19 years old. Al McCoy. I like that picture. That's one of the best pictures I made today. Okay, junior middleweight. Melanie Queen 27 in the building. Salute, Queen. How are you today? And Ray Patterson, straight out of New Jersey, in the building. What's up, RP? Okay, let's continue. Write these names down first. Yeah, we are well on our way to 40 likes today. Yep. Might get 400 hits on that bag over there in the hangout tomorrow. I don't know who's going to hit it yet, but we'll figure it out. I'll do it about 20 times. Okay. I don't know how many times Jay's going to do it. So we get that 40 likes. That's what you can look forward to tomorrow. But anyway, the junior middleweight division. Cornelius Bundrich is the oldest boxer to win a championship in the junior middleweight division. Okay. He was two-time champion in the division. He held the IBF title twice between 2010 and 2015. Now, October 11th, 2014, at the age of 41, Bundrich won the IBF junior middleweight title for the second time, defeating Carlos Molina by a 12-round unanimous decision. In 2006, Bundrich participated in ESPN's Contender Series. Remember that? Yeah, he was in that in 2006. Yeah, tough man. He finished his career with a record of 37-6, won no contest, 21 knockouts. Now, like I was saying, we knew Wilfred Benitez was the youngest at junior welterweight at 17, but he's also the youngest at junior middleweight, Wilfred Benitez. He's considered the youngest at junior middleweight. I couldn't find anybody else. He won the titles in 3 weight divisions, and he's definitely the youngest junior welterweight champion. And I'm going to talk about that in a minute. Now, on May 23rd, 1981, at age 22, Benitez knocked out WBC junior middleweight champion Maurice Hope to become the division's youngest champion, and also the youngest 3-time world champion at that time. And the knockout of Hope at that fight won co-knockout of the year for that year, 1981. Yep. Wilfred Benitez. Oh, I didn't even change it. I'm sorry. There's Wilfred. Right there on the right. Is that Roberto Duran? Looks like Roberto. He's fighting. Yeah. Okay, let's drop down to welterweight. I started too early because time is passing on by, but it's okay. I'm going to drop the link and we're going to talk about this. Somebody might dispute my list, Come on up. We'll chop it up. We're going to have time for the link. We're going to drop down to welterweight, okay? For the oldest man in the welterweight division to win a world title was him. Y'all know him. That's the Pac-Man. Corey Finks. Hashtag JBT. How are you today, my friend? Corey Finks. My friend and JBT brother. Corey Finks, hashtag JBT in the building. Wow, we got 40. No, I'm just kidding. We coming down on it though. We're gonna get it. Don't worry. Okay. Welterweight division. Manny Pacquiao is the oldest boxer to win a world championship in the welterweight division. The Pac-Man. And he's boxing's most decorated champion, having won 12 titles in 8 weight classes. And in July 2019, he won a 12-round split decision over then current champion Keith Thurman. Remember that? Keith one time, now Keith once upon a time. Pacquiao was 40 years old at the time. And with all he's accomplished in boxing, Pacquiao is a certain first ballot Hall of Famer. If he doesn't make it, then something is wrong. It should be almost time. What is it, like 5 years? Something like that. He fought Ugas like what, 2021? He got a few more. I think about 26 he'll be eligible, but he'll make it in his first year. And Pacquiao finished his career with a record of 62 wins, 8 losses, 2 draws, and 39 knockouts. And the youngest man at welterweight to win a title was Pipino. There he is, Pipino Cuevas. Fought them all. Fought Hearns. Yeah. No, I'm going to do it 20 times, Jay. You don't have to hit it 400. I'm going to come over there and hit it 20. Yeah. I'm going to cut you a little slack. Okay. Jose Pipino Cuevas. Turned professional at, get this. Let me read that again. Jose Pipino Cuevas turned professional at 14 years old. 14. And he became the youngest welterweight champion in the history of the division 5 years later, after he made his professional debut and a few months before his 19th birthday. Okay? He was 18. He defeated Angel Esparza via second round TKO to win the WBA World Welterweight Championship. And he finished his career with a record of 35 wins, 15 losses, and 31 knockouts. He was 14 years old when he made his professional debut. Wow. And only 18 when he got his first title. Youngest man at welterweight was Pipino. Jose Pipino Cuevas. Now we drop down to junior welterweight. Here we'll see Wilfred again. Yeah. But the oldest man first at junior welterweight was Edward Troyanovsky. Sounds Russian. Somewhere over there, Eastern Europe. Edward Troyanovsky. He became the oldest boxer to win the junior welterweight championship. In 2015, he stopped Cesar Cuenca in the 6th round. Troyanovsky was 36 years old at the time. And he went on to make 2 successful title defenses before he losing the title in 2016 by suffering his first career loss. And he finished with 29 wins, 3 losses, 24 knockouts. And of course, everybody knows Wilfred Benitez was the youngest. He's the youngest in all of boxing, as a matter of fact, at 17. Now Wilfred, he's the youngest at 140 to win a world championship. And he won his first of 3 world championships at 17 years old. Okay? Now check this out. On March 6, 1976, with some of his high school classmates in attendance, the man was still in high school. Some of his classmates was at the fight. I know that's something to go to school the next day and brag about, winning a world championship. Wow. But anyway, on March 6, 1976, with some of his high school classmates in attendance, Wilfred Benitez faced WBA junior welterweight champion Antonio Cervantes, who was 13 years older than Benitez at 30. And the result was a 15-round unanimous split decision in Benitez's favor. And of course, The win made him the youngest world champion in the division's history. And Wolford had a total of 62 fights, winning 53, losing 8, 1 draw, 31 knockouts. The next division is lightweight. Lightweight. The man on the left looked familiar, right? He's fighting Manny. Juan Manuel Marquez was the oldest at lightweight in the history of the lightweight division. Juan Manuel, International Boxing Hall of Famer. And Marquez had a brilliant 21-year career from 1993 to 2014. He held titles in 3 different weight classes. And he finished his career with a record of 56 wins, 7 losses, 1 draw, and 40 knockouts. The oldest man to win a title in the history of the lightweight division, Juan Manuel Marquez. Okay? And guess who was the youngest? Anybody got a guess who it was? There it is. Oh, no. Excuse me. Oh, man. Him. There he is. No. Come on, Cass. There he is. On the right. Devin Haney. Yep. Devin Haney was the youngest. At lightweight. Let's talk about it real quick. In October 2019, Devin Haney became the WBC lightweight champion after he was elevated when the previous lightweight champion, Vasily Lomachenko, who he's fighting right there, he finally fought, okay? Lomachenko was promoted to franchise champion by the WBC. And that move made Devin the youngest world champion in the history of the lightweight division at 20 years old. Now, Devin is currently still boxing. He has a record of 31 wins, 1 loss, 15 knockouts, including 1 knockout of the year candidate. No, I ain't trying to be funny. He did have a knockout of the year candidate against, I can't remember the guy's name. Now, he was on Pro Boxing a few months ago. But Devin Haney, the youngest champion in the history of the lightweight division. Yep. Okay. We go to junior lightweight. And the oldest is Azuma Nelson. Here's Azuma Nelson. Oldest man to win a championship in the junior lightweight division. Okay? And he accomplished this on December 1st, 1995, when he defeated champion Gabriel Ruelas by a 5th round TKO. Azuma was 37 years old at the time. Now, he only had 4 more fights in his career after that, and he lost 3 of them. And he ended up with 38 wins, 6 losses, 2 draws, 27 knockouts. Azuma Nelson. And the youngest man at junior welterweight was Ben Villaflor. There's Ben right there. Come on, Ben. Yeah. Can't see him that good. That's Ben on the right. The southpaw. Filipino fighter. And he's the youngest boxer to win a world championship in the junior lightweight division. On April 25th, 1972, Villaflor was given his first opportunity at a world title at 19 years old. And he faced WBA junior lightweight champion Alfredo Marcano. Villaflor became world champion by defeating Marcano by a 15-round unanimous decision. And he had 66 fights in his career, won 54, lost 6, 6 draws, 31 knockouts. Ben Villaflor. Okay? Youngest man to win a title at junior lightweight. Now we're at featherweight, okay? The oldest guy was Eater Joffre, okay? On May 5th, there's Eater on the left, standing up. I wouldn't put the man's picture up there if that was him on the mat there. Yeah. On the left. On May 5th, 1973, Ida Joffre challenged Jose Legra for the WBC featherweight title. Joffre became a two-division world champion by defeating Legra by a 15-round majority decision. This fight also made Joffre the oldest boxer to win the featherweight title. He was 37 years old. Now, he had 78 fights. Won 72, lost 2, 4 draws, 50 knockouts. Ida Joffre. Youngest guy, another guy, old school guy on the left, Tony Canzoneri. Youngest guy at featherweight. Now, Tony Canzoneri was considered the best pound-for-pound boxer of the 1920s. Back there with Jack Dempsey and all those Gene Tunney. Yeah, they said Tony was the best, was number one pound for pound out of all of them. He fought at featherweight. Now, Tony made his professional debut at age 16. And he became the youngest fighter to ever win a featherweight title. 4 years later, at age 20. This happened on February 10th, 1928. He won his first title. He took the featherweight strap from Benny Bass. And he had 175 fights in his career. He won 141, lost 24, had 10 draws, 44 by way of knockout. That was Tony Canzoneri, the youngest man to win a title at featherweight. Okay? Junior featherweight, super bantamweight. I think it depends on the sanctioning body, what you call it, but junior featherweight is what we call it today. Okay? That's Daniel Zaragoza, 122 division. Daniel Zaragoza. Now, he was one of the toughest boxers of the late 1980s and much of the 90s. Now, he was never the most talented fighter, but he used his guts and resolve to win world titles. And he had a long, solid career. In 1995, Zaragoza became the oldest boxer to win a world title in the junior featherweight division, when he defeated champion Alcero Sanchez by a 12-round split decision. Okay? And he was 38 years old at the time. 66-fight career. He won 55, lost 8, 3 draws, 28 knockouts. And see, those guys back then, even then in the 90s, they weren't worrying about no O's and none of that. Everybody had 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 losses, man. That's just how it was. He was the oldest guy at 122. Okay. Now we're starting to get down low. Here we go with these names. I might have to start putting them in the chat. But anyway, I'm gonna try it. Well, this is okay. 122. Yamilet Mercado. This is the oldest period. You don't have to be male. This is just the oldest. She was the youngest at 122. She was born March 3rd, 1990. Youngest junior featherweight boxing champion. She won the title on November 16th, 2019, just a few years ago. 20 years old. She took the title from Fatuma Zarika. And she's still a rising star in women's boxing, but the youngest fighter at junior featherweight, 20 years old. She's had 26 fights so far. She's won 23, lost 3, and 5 knockouts. Fatuma Mercado. No, Yamilet Mercado. She beat Fatuma. Now we're going down to 118, which is bantamweight, right? Let me slide this way down some. Everybody should recognize. You might not recognize him because this is not that good of a picture of it. But Nonito Donaire, that's Nonito on the right. He's the oldest guy at 118 bantamweight. Now, Nonito Donaire has held multiple world championships in 4 weight classes, from flyweight to featherweight, okay? And everything in between. Not everything, but flyweight. I don't know the exact 4 he had flyweight. Because that's 5. Flyweight, junior bantamweight. No. Flyweight, junior bantamweight, junior featherweight, and featherweight. He missed one of them. But anyway, he's held 4. He's had multiple world championships in 4 weight classes, from flyweight to featherweight. Okay, and he's the oldest boxer in history to win a bantamweight championship at age 38. And he's also the first 3-time champion in the bantamweight class. Okay, and currently he's still active. Currently his record is 42 wins, 8 losses, 28 knockouts. Okay, now this is the only one I couldn't find. I could not find the youngest champion at bantamweight, so we got to skip over that one. I tried, but anybody know who the youngest champion at bantamweight is? I appreciate you, Ryan Frazier. Appreciate you for stopping by. Yeah, I've been seeing you on the Hangout. Okay, now, so yeah, I couldn't find the youngest at bantamweight. I'm sorry, but I just couldn't. But anyway, we go to 115, which is super flyweight, junior bantamweight. 115. And that's Omar Narvaez. Omar Narvaez. Told you I'm getting down here to these names now. Those smaller weight classes, you got a lot of Asians, and no disrespect, but I just have trouble with the names. But I'll put them in the chat and let y'all read them yourself if you get too tough. But this is Omar Narvaez. He's the oldest boxer in history to win the world super flyweight title, 115. And he was 38 years old when he did it. And he made 11 successful title defenses before he lost the title in 2014 to guess who? Naoya Inoue. So there ain't nothing to feel bad about. Everybody that lost to Naoya Inoue that he's fought. And Narvaez ended his career with a record of 49 wins, 4 losses, 2 draws, and 25 knockouts. And then the youngest guy at 115 is Cesar Polanco. There's Cesar. Now, Cesar turned professional in 1983 at age 15, right? And 3 years later, he was fighting for the championship at 18. And he went up against Eli Pikal. And he won a razor-thin split decision. And he made history. He's the second youngest boxing world champion of all time, behind Wilfredo Benitez, because he was 18. There's a few 18s, but he got it by some months or something like that. He had a couple times, but I went down to the months. Yeah. He's the second youngest of all time, behind Wilfred at 18. And of course, the youngest super flyweight champion of all time. And he had 38 fights in his career, 33 wins, 4 losses, 1 draw, 24 knockouts. Glad you're enjoying yourself, Ryan Frazier. That means you're coming back, right? But glad you enjoyed yourself, Ryan. And glad to have you. And we got the mayor, Thomas Hill, in here. The mayor says salute to the family. Salute, Mr. Mayor. Glad to see you today. Now we're at 112, which is 112 is flyweight, right? Now the oldest person at 112, okay, is this guy. Man, I'm not even gonna attempt it. I'm gonna put it in the chat. I don't know what that is. I'm not ashamed to say I can't pronounce it. But the first name is Moruti. I got the first name. Moruti It looks like methadone or something. I don't know. You know that stuff they take, methadone? See what y'all think that is. MTH. Hey, wait a minute, Cass. Hurry up. MTHALANE. There he is. He's the that guy there is the youngest. He's the oldest. He's the oldest oldest flyweight champion. Mututu Methylane, I believe. Now, he's a two-time IBF flyweight champion, having held the title between 2009 and 2021. Okay. He became the oldest boxer to win the flyweight title by defeating Muhammad Wasim by a 12-round unanimous decision. He was 37 years old. He had 43 fights. He won 40, lost 3. He had 26 knockouts. We're going to have some link time to talk about this or whatever you want to talk about in a few, because we only got like 3 more divisions to go. Now, 112, the youngest. Okay. That was Victor Perez. I thought I had another one of the hard ones. But on October 24th, 1931, now this is interesting here. On October 24th, 1931, just 6 days after his 20th birthday, Victor Perez knocked out Frankie Gennaro. Know y'all heard of him, in the second round to capture the National Boxing Association, which turned into the WBA, remember? World Flyweight Championship. Now, this victory made Perez the youngest boxer in history to win the flyweight title. Okay. Now, when Perez was 23 years old, he was arrested during World War II and sent to the Auschwitz concentration camp. I know y'all heard of that, right? And while there, he was forced to box for the amusement of the German guards. And he was murdered in 1945 by the Nazis. Yeah. Victor Perez. He won 92 fights, lost 31, he had 15 draws and 21 knockouts. Yup, sad. That happened to him. And then we got 2 more divisions to go. We go to 108, junior flyweight. And the youngest guy at 108 was oldest guy first. That's Luis Alberto Lazarte. Southpaw on the right there. Okay. He defeated Carlos Zamora on May 29th, 2010 to win the IBF Junior Flyweight World Championship. He was 39 years old at the time, and that made him the oldest boxer to win the Junior Flyweight title. And he finished his professional career with a record of 62 wins, 2 losses, 2 draws, 1 no contest, and 18 knockouts. Yeah. This is definitely another one. This is the youngest guy at bear with me for 1 minute. Youngest guy at junior flyweight. Okay. I don't know. I can't pronounce this. I should have had Remo up here to be my official name pronouncer for me. Oh, and I can't do it. There he is. This guy here is the youngest to win a junior flyweight title. Okay, he was. Excuse me. Yeah, youngest. He's the youngest boxer to win the light flyweight title. He made his professional debut at the age of 15 in 1975, 15 years old. And 3 years later, at the age of 18, on May 6, 1978, he won a decision over Freddie Castillo to win the World Light Flyweight World Championship. He was 18 years old at that time. Finished with 29 wins, 7 losses, 2 draws, 15 knockouts. Okay? And that's him in the chat there. I'm going to drop the link in a minute too, T. Now we go finally to 105. The oldest guy at 105. That's him on the right. Not a good picture. Muhammad Rahman. He's a former Indonesian world champion, a veteran of over 20 years in the ring. Okay? On April 19th, 2011, Rahman knocked out Thai boxer Hirwanta Sixmosang in the 9th round. And they gave him the WBA World Strawweight or minimum weight 105 championship. He was 39 years old. And that's what made him the oldest in the history of the strawweight division. He had 83 fights. He had 83 fights. He won 65, lost 13, 5 draws, 35 knockouts. And finally, at 105, this guy is from Thailand, Ratanapol Vorapan. Now, he came from extreme poverty. And when he discovered the martial arts at a young age, it became a means of building a better life for him. And his brother was a boxer too. Now he switched from Muay Thai to boxing. And he made his professional debut in 1990 at 16 years old. 2 years later, when he was 18, he got it down to the day, because this is one of the ones that was a tie. Now he was 18 years and 6 months and 5 days old. Okay, he won the IBF minimum weight world championship, taking a close split decision over Manny Melchor. And he retired from boxing in 2009 with a record of 59 wins, 8 losses, 1 draw, 48 knockouts. Okay. And those are the oldest and youngest fighters to win titles in each weight division. Okay. I'm going to put the link in case anybody want to chop it up. But tomorrow is ring. We're going to talk about ring announcements tomorrow. Brought to you by Remo. Okay. You know, tomorrow is Wednesday. And I need ideas on shows or profiles on boxers that you would like to see a profile done on. Okay. And the ones that you suggest to me will be done on Wednesdays. We had 2 last week. This week, by the way, is the Manassas Mauler, Jack Dempsey. Okay. Okay. Anybody feel like coming up, topping it up? Come up. We got how many links do I have? I mean likes do I have? I'll let you know in a minute. Is it 40? There's the link. Okay. Finished a little early today. We got 27. That ain't bad. But there's a big press conference still going on with Don King, and I never changed it either. And AB, somebody said AB and Blair Carp was going at it. I like the Patrick Teixeira and Xander Zayas fight myself. That's a great card. Great card. But yeah, the oldest fighter to ever win a world championship is B-Hop at 49. And remember, B-Hop broke his own record twice. He originally did it at 46. And then he did it at 48. And then he did it again at 49. All at light heavyweight now. And the youngest is Wilfred Benitez at 17. junior welterweight. And he also, Benitez is the youngest at junior middleweight. I did not know that. I think he was 21 by that time. Yeah. Like about 4 years after he won it at junior welterweight. And remember, when he was winning the title at junior welterweight, some of his high school classmates were in the audience watching. That's something to brag about the next day in school, ain't it? Wow, probably had all the girls. You know how the girls used to love basketball and football players. How about a boxer, a professional boxer? Not no football player from the high school team, a professional boxer. That's what Wilfred was doing when he was in high school. That's crazy. Then we got the guys started 14, 15 years old. That is really crazy. I never said about the guy, you know, he got to a Nazi concentration camp and got murdered. Victor Perez, yeah. Oh. Yeah, Victor. That was sad. But he got to be a world champion during his career. At least he can, that's on his record. But I appreciate everybody coming by today. It's still early in the day. We got The Voice coming up next, Rise Podcast. Early in the week. I don't think we get a Let's Talk Fashion tomorrow. Nope. I missed it already. Today would be the day sometimes that Remo would come up here and let us know what's happening tomorrow. But not this week. It'll be back though. Oh yeah, and the JBT raffle. I can't forget that. We send $10 to the Cash App if you want to get in. You win a 55-inch TV. 55-inch color TV. Yep. Just $10. Or however many tickets you want. Send $10 for each ticket. If you want 10, send $100. That will enhance your chances of winning. Melanie Queen already said that's her TV though, so. But still try to take a chance. Yeah. Send $10 to that Cash App right there. And you have a chance on winning. I can't never get the commercial to play when I try to play it. But yeah. The drawing will be on July 13th at the meet and greet. I'm doing the cooking, by the way. No, I'm kidding. I don't want to scare nobody away. I have a big old pot of oodles of noodles up there. No, I don't want to scare anybody away, just joking. I know Jay probably already said, I ain't coming. Cass doing the cooking. No, I'm not doing the cooking. I'm going to do some eating, though. Yeah. But that's July 13th at the Jerron Ennis Cody Crowley fight. Yep. The JBT meet and greet. First meet and greet in Pennsylvania. And shoot, we are in almost within a month. Because shoot, we are almost in fight week for Tank and Frank. This time it's flying. I remember when they were just doing the press conference, the kickoff press conference, remember? It was like a month ago. Now look at this, we almost in fight week for it. Of course, I got Tank. JBP is a face of boxing. Slanted organization, for lack of a better way to say it. Most of us rock with the face of boxing. So, yeah, of course I got him, from the heart and realistically. But it'll be a good fight, though. Frank ain't no slouch. And I think Frank is going to put up a good performance. Oh, appreciate you, Kenneth. Ooh, I got a couple new subscribers. I'll be monetized soon. You're gonna see that little dollar sign down in the right corner soon. Yeah. But I appreciate the new subscribers. That is fire. Yup. Ooh wee. I got a few of them. That's thanks to Jay Hardcore sending everybody over here too. Jay Hardcore is the creator of the JBT, by the way. And yeah, this week Thursday is going to be on amateur boxing because I don't think I ever talked about amateur boxing before. We're going to talk about the history of it. We're going to do some profiles on some guys that had great amateur careers. Well, they got to include Lomachenko. You know, what was he, like 400-0 or something? Did he lose one? Lose any? Sugar Ray Robinson had a great amateur career also. It's BBO Boxing TV at? Are you in here, BBO? And Sugar Ray Robinson had a great amateur career. They took boxing out of the Olympics. Why did they do that? That's But you know what? Americans always work hard on Americans in those international competitions. I remember what happened to Evander. He got cheated in 1984, you know? And he was fighting a guy where the referee was from the same country. Now, I think they got enough amateur referees where in the Olympics, no fighter and referee should be involved in the same fight from the same country. But Evander was in that situation, and sure enough, the referee cheated him. He waited until Evander started his punch, and then he hollered, "Stop." And you could get injured trying to stop your punch in the middle of it like that, and Evander followed through and hit the guy, and the referee disqualified him. And then they got Roy Jones with that bad decision in 88. It was so bad that the guy that won the gold medal, Roy, I think, got the bronze. He had the gold medal up top, in the middle, and the other two on the side. The guy that won the gold medal actually pulled Roy up to the top with him because he knew Roy deserved it. But, excuse me, the worst of all was Floyd, the way they cheated Floyd, man, because when the referee had both of them right there in the middle of them and they were announcing the winner, they said, and the winner is, and the referee started raising Floyd's hand. And they called the other guy's name. So that's a clear indication of who really should have won. The referee actually started raising Floyd's hand, man. They've been hard on Americans in those international competitions. But I got one worse than the Floyd one. In 1908, the Olympics were in London, right? And sure enough, in boxing, everybody that won a medal was from London except for one guy. And in one fight, the guy claimed that he was cheated, and he had a good reason to say so, because the guy he was fighting, not only was the referee from the same country, it was his father. Come on, man. It was the guy's father. Now, how did this guy's Olympic, whatever country, I think it was from Australia, how did the Australians let that happen? They should have complained. I bet that wouldn't happen to an American boxer in there against somebody fighting them and their father is the referee. You know, if my son fighting for a gold medal, I'm the referee, I'm going to cheat for him. I like what BN Boxing News said. BN Boxing News said if he's refereeing a fight for the gold medal with his son fighting, the other guy would have to knock him out. The only way he's going to win. I admit I'm going to cheat. And you might even do it and not even realize you're doing it. That's your son, man. So how did that happen? But that should never happen. Now, shouldn't they be from the same country? Yeah, but Americans have got a lot of, and not just the Olympics, and a whole bunch of international competition. You know, we just got bad decisions. And now we're not going anywhere. I don't even know what the reason for that was, for pulling the American boxing out of the Olympics. I think that's true. There's Ernest Johnson. What's up, Ernest? Yeah, I did. You was in here that day. Yeah, I did. Cover the Cuban system. So what do you think about that, Ernest? No, there's enough amateur referees where you can avoid having a fighter and a referee in the same fight from the same country, man. You know, that shouldn't happen. And then the guy's father refereeing the fight. That's just crazy. His Olympic committee shouldn't even allow that to happen. Mm-mm. They should have been all over that. You know the guy cheated. You know, it's your son. You might not even realize you're cheating. On the break, you're going to push the other guy back a little harder. You know, you're just going to do it. Like if they toward the ropes, you might push him back a little faster toward the ropes and, you know, pull your son in. You know, you're just going to, it's just going to happen. You know? So you shouldn't have a guy refereeing a Olympic gold medal match and one guy's father refereeing the fight. Just shouldn't happen. But it happened in London. You know, they believe in home cooking. Yeah, definitely. Major conflict of interest. And normally the president of the Olympic Committee is right there at the Olympics. Why didn't they complain about it? Like I've said, I bet you it wouldn't happen to an American fighter. They would be all over that. That's just crazy. But yeah, the worst of all was Floyd, though, when the referee started to raise his hand up and they called the other guy's name. Yeah. And Floyd said at that time, at the interview after the fight, he said he's never gonna feel that. He never want to feel that feeling of losing again, and he never did. That was the last time that man ever lost. Nobody thought that would be the last time, but it was. 50-0. Bud is 40-0. He won't reach 50. Not the way they fight nowadays. You know, Bud is, he would have to, what is Bud, 36, 37? He got about 3 years. He would have to fight about at least 3-4 times a year to get that. No, I don't think so. Floyd's record is safe. Turkey Al-Sheikh said he's trying to make Bud and Canelo. BBO doesn't think Canelo will take the fight. I think he'll take it if the money's right. I really do. It ain't gonna be no 200 million. But he wanted that for Benitez. I don't think he wanted that for Bud, did he? Nah. But I really appreciate everybody for rocking with me today. Had a full house for Cass Sports. Hope everybody enjoyed the show. Stop back tomorrow. We're going to talk about ring announcements. We talk about everything boxing over here. You know, because the main part is when the 2 men or 2 women get in the ring and mix it up. But that's just part of it, you know. I talk about everything else. I talked about judges, referees, sanctioning bodies, promoters, everything. Boxing styles. We talked about body punches last week. Mm-hmm. Yeah. Like Ernest said, I talked about the Cuban system, Cuban boxing. Yeah. Talk about it all over here. Because, you know, anything you're involved in, you know about the little parts of it, you know. It makes it better when you're watching the fight in the ring to know about all the other things that goes into it. You know what I mean? Yeah. And a lot goes into it. I was going to do a show one time on everything that goes into making a fight, from the point where they sign all the way up to the vendors and everything, man. But it was just a lot. I don't know how promoters make money. All they have to do, man, I just don't know how they do it. Man. It's a lot. I couldn't do it. It was just too much. I couldn't do it. But I tried. Yeah, it's a lot goes into making a fight. Yeah. But it was a good thought. And tomorrow we're going to talk about ring announcers. That was a Remo idea. Some of the famous ring announcers now and back in their old days. Profile them like we do. Talk about their life and careers. And Thursday is amateur boxing. Friday is the Manassas Mauler, Jack Dempsey. Jack was one of the tougher boxers. Yeah, Jack got knocked through the ropes one time in the first round. At the end, the bell rang. At the end of the round, now the bell rang, and they got Jack back to his stool. And Jack said, "Who won?" They said, "Jack, the fight is still going on." So Jack goes back out there and knocks the guy down 9 times and stopped him in the second round. Tough man. Then he beat up Jess Willett. Jess Willett was like a giant. Jack demolished. And was a ladies' man too. Married a few Hollywood starlets. Like I told you, one of the big 5 of sports, remember? Jack from boxing, Babe Ruth from baseball, Bill Tilden from tennis, Bobby Jones from golf, and Red Grange from football. And Jack was the most popular of them all. Jack Johnson was. Jack Dempsey, excuse me. Jack Dempsey. Jack Johnson, he, I don't know. I had lost a little respect for him one time when I heard this story. They had the colored belt because, back around that time, a lot of black fighters didn't get shots for the regular heavyweight belt. So they had the colored belt that the black fighters fought for. And Jack Johnson was in that same category one time, couldn't get the heavyweight shot for the regular belt, so he had to fight for the colored belt. But then guess what? Jack Johnson got a shot for and won the heavyweight belt. He stopped fighting the black fighters. Okay? He wouldn't fight them. But then guess what? Jack Johnson lost the heavyweight belt and went back fighting for the colored belt again, fighting the same guys that he wouldn't fight. I'm like, wow, Jack, that's not a good picture there. Yeah. And he ducked Sam Langford anyway. Jack did not want to fight Sam Langford. Sam Langford is known as the fought back around the 20s, around in that era, teens. He's known as the best fighter to never receive a title shot. Not win a title shot, he never received one. Sam Langford. I saw a fight between him and Joe Gans. That was fire. But it was one of them ones, where they moved real fast. Yeah. Back around that time. And sometimes in them days, they didn't have photographers at the fights. So they would have to actually have an artist there drawing the action. They didn't have somebody there to take pictures. They would have somebody there drawing the action. That was back around like the no decision era, where if you didn't get a knockout, there was no such thing as a decision. You didn't get a knockout, then you got a no contest on your record. Now you had the newspaper decision, where if there was no knockout, no decision given, then they would print in the newspaper who they thought won the fight. And a lot of guys had a whole lot of newspaper decisions on their record. That's what that was about. It was during the no decision era, fight in a no contest. Some of the newspaper guys would get together and print in their papers who they think won. And you would get a win or a loss called the newspaper decision. Yeah. Yep. But yeah, that's a little history of the sport, And guys fought a lot back then. Henry Armstrong fought, I think he fought 20 times, 37 or 38, and then he fought like 11 more. He fought 31 times in 2 years, right? And there were only 8 weight divisions at that time, and he was champion in 3 of them. And he missed being champion in the 4th one because of a controversial draw. So just think of that. 8 weight divisions, and this one man is champion in half of them. He just missed being that. But he was champion in 3 of them. Okay? Henry Armstrong. And he was number 3 on the Cash Sports all-time top 10. Okay. I think number 10 was Benny Leonard. Number 9 was Floyd Mayweather. 8 was it Marvin Hagler? 8 was Marvin Hagler. 7 was Roberto Duran. 6 is Sugar Ray Leonard. 5 is Joe Louis. Now this top 5 is fire. I put this top 5 up against anybody. Cat Sports top 5 all time. Number 5, Joe Louis. Number 4, Willie Pep. Number 3, Henry Armstrong. Number 2, Muhammad Ali. And of course, number 1 is Sugar Ray Leonard. That's everybody's number 1. If it ain't, something wrong with you. No disrespect, man. If Sugar Ray Leonard ain't your number 1, there's something wrong with you. It just is, man. Yeah. Sugar Ray was the man pound for pound was invented for. Okay. He was the man where the pound for pound concept was invented for. Sugar Ray Robinson. Now, remember the 6 fights he had with Jake LaMotta now? Sugar Ray won 5 of the 6. It was very misleading because you might say, well, excuse me, Sugar Ray won 5 of the 6, so he dominated Jake, but not true at all. Very competitive fight. Very easily could have been 3-3. Very easily could have been 3-3. Because, you know, Jake, they did give him one, and I think, like 4, 3 and 4, or 4 and 5. Jake could have very easily got those 2. Could have very easily been 3-3. And guess what? The second fight of that series was fought February 5th, 1943. Okay? Guess when the third fight was fought? February 24th, 1943. 3 weeks later. 3 weeks later. Of course, it was in the same place, Detroit, because they neither one of them never left, right? And they wouldn't have had to study any film on each other. You just fought him 3 weeks ago. Isn't that amazing, though? 3 weeks later, between their 2 fights. Nowadays, you have fighters had 3 years in between fights. Those 2 guys fought 3 weeks apart. And Willie Pep, after Willie Pep's first loss, he wanted to get back in the win column so bad. Guess what he did? He fought 10 days later. He lost his first fight and wanted to get a win so bad, he got back in there 10 days later and won. I guess he told his manager, you got to get me another fight. I can't stand this loss. 10 days later, he was back in the ring. Amazing. And he won. Yeah. And then Willie Pep was in a bad plane crash. Got banged up pretty bad. He broke his leg, and I think he fractured vertebrae or something. And the doctor told him he was through boxing. He was through. Saying he was through boxing. The doctor said, "You through, Willie?" Willie said, "The only thing I'm through with was flying at night." And he came back and had 10 more fights that same year of that bad plane crash. Yeah. But some tough guys back then, man. You in a plane crash and then come back that same year and fight 10 times. Okay. Fighters don't fight 10 times in 4 or 5 years nowadays. And the guy I just told you about on here, John Henry Lewis, he had over 100-something fights in just an 8-year career. It was like an average of 14 fights per year. 14 fights per year. So in 2 years, he passed a lot of guys nowadays' entire careers. You know? Willie Pep had over 200 fights. Archie Moore had over 200 fights. And since we talk history, I got to talk about my guy Rocky Marciano and address the people that say that he was fighting guys past their prime. The main 3 they want to touch on is Joe Louis, Jersey Joe Walcott, and Archie Moore. Let me shoot all that down. Now, Joe Louis, when Rocky fought him, Joe Louis was the #1 contender on an 8-fight winning streak. So if he was past his prime, nobody else was beating him. Now, Jersey Joe, that's easy. Shoot that down. How can a man be past his prime when he was the heavyweight champion of the world? Right? So you saying Rocky fought Jersey Joe, he was past his prime. The man was the heavyweight champion. Wasn't nobody else beating him. And Archie Moore, when Rocky fought him, after Rocky beat him, Archie had 30 more fights and only lost one. So no, give Rocky his props. Bad man. And he was small. It was a small era too, though. So, you know, probably be like a cruiserweight nowadays, you know. They say Rocky didn't weigh over 200 for many of his fights. Yep. Small era. Joe Frazier probably would be a cruiserweight nowadays too. Smoking Joe, he was small. And Joe Frazier had 4 losses in his career. Guess who they were 2? George Foreman and Muhammad Ali. The only ones that beat Smoking Joe was Big George and the greatest. But you know what? I call Joe Louis the greatest because, you know, I always talk about this. That 25 fight win streak he had, 25 title defenses. You can't just look at the 25. You got to look at what he was doing during those 25. Okay? 23 of those 25 was by stoppage. Out of those 25 defenses, only 2 people went the distance with him. Okay? Only 2. 15 of them were inside of 5 rounds. Okay? 6 first round stoppages. And all this fighting 5, 6, 7 times a year. That's how they did it in that era, okay? That's greatest type stuff there. So I call Joe Louis the greatest. Sorry, Muhammad, but that's greatest type stuff there, you know? Yeah, you got to look inside those 25 defenses and see just what he was doing. Yeah, Joe Louis. The greatest. Yeah, that's my greatest, you know? Yep. But I love boxing history. And that's what we do over here every day. You know, you won't hear about what fighters are beefing on Twitter or what they wore to the ring walk last week or who walked them out. Nah. You get a whole lot of boxing history every day. And I need ideas in the chat too. If anybody would like to see some kind of historical aspect of the sport or anything about boxing, put it in the chat. Put it in the chat. Or a profile on a certain boxer. Like the Manassas Mauler this week, Jack Dempsey. The Manassas Mauler. Tough man, tough man. Yeah. Married a few Hollywood starlets. Yeah. He worked hard in the ring and played hard outside it. Yeah. Most popular sports star of that era. When they had, like I was telling you, they had Babe Ruth, Red Grange, Barbie Jones, famous golfer, and Bill Tilden, the famous tennis player. The boxer, Jack Dempsey, was the most popular of them all. And the 20s was when boxing started becoming popular. And Jack Dempsey was the big reason for it. Yeah. Now he had the what did they call? Oh man, I can't think of the fight. Where he wouldn't go to the corner, and they said the fight was thrown. He was fighting was it Gene Tunney or Jack Sharkey? One of them might have been Gene Tunney. And Jack knocked him down, and the referee wouldn't start to count because Jack wouldn't go to a neutral corner. And by the time he went, Gene had recovered and got up. But if he'd have went to the corner immediately, Gene might have got up immediately. But if the referee not counting, stay down there and get as much rest as you can. So it didn't have to be a throne, you know. But that's what they said. I forgot what they called that fight. The long count fight. The long count fight. That's what they called it, yeah. Because Gene Tunney got a long count because Jack Dempsey wouldn't go to his corner. Yeah, that was the long count fight. Okay, old school. Max Bayer. What's up, old school? I didn't know you was in here. I had the link in there, old school. We got 15 minutes. Let me put it in again. Salute William, old school ran straight out of New Orleans. Yeah, I'm going to do that, old school Max Bayer. Okay. You can come up here and do it with me when I do it. Let's see. It's going to probably, it might be next, no, not next Friday, the one after next. Might be next Wednesday, if you're free. Yeah, old school. I'm gonna do that though. Okay. You at work? Yeah. Appreciate you stopping by. We have old school rent. I know you hit the like. We at 40 yet? Where are we on the like button? 28. Two more give me 30. 34 is my record. I'll take 30 for today. But yeah, this is how we do it over here. I had a lot more people that's normally in here today, and if you like history, you're in the right place for it. Tomorrow is going to be on Ring Announcer. What do you buy? Let's Talk Fashion, aka Remo. Hashtag JBT. Yep. Thursday, history of amateur boxing. Friday, the Manasseh Smaller, Jack Dempsey. Yeah, I know you hit the like button in old school. Hit the like button in old school. Don't work too hard. But yeah, we're gonna do Max Bayer soon, old school. Thank you for the yeah, okay. Ernest said we've been to okay. Yeah, John Henry Lewis. I talked about him today, old school. Yeah, John Henry was going blind by the end of his career. He was real good friends with Joe Louis. So Joe Louis gave him a fight at the end of the career so he could get one more bag before the commission snatched his license from him. Yeah. And then he took it easy on him. Okay. Ernest said, we've been debating about it. We should split the heavyweight division up into super heavy or bridgeweight. Yeah, I think so, Ernest. Yeah, because that Wilder and Zhang was crazy difference, man. Yeah, that is an excellent idea. I agree with that. Yeah, they should do that. Yeah, because that is a huge difference. Okay, old school, I'll let you know. Yeah. Maybe one day next week. Maybe Wednesday if you're free. One day when you can get free from your work, when you know how you get those. I think it's the weather or something on one of those days. Yeah, that would be great. Yeah, Max Bayer. But yeah, Ernest, I agree with that, man. They need to split that heavyweight division up because they always say they have weight. I think Jay was addressing this the other day. They always say they have weight divisions for a reason, but then until you get the heavyweight, then you got, like you say, 215 versus 280. That's like 5 or 6 different weight division difference. Yeah, they should split it. What happened to that bridgerweight they were talking about? I think the WBC was talking about a bridgerweight one time. Remember? Not too long ago, like last year. But they never got it started. I think that was a pretty good idea. Mm-hmm. At first I was thinking it was a money thing to get some more champions, but it would be a good idea too, though, because that's sometimes that's too much of a weight difference. Right in Canada, they had the female ring announcer spoken in French and English. Oh, you don't remember her name? I'll find her. Yeah, I'll find her. Okay, that was in Canada. Today? Oh, recently. Okay, yeah, I'll find her. Yeah, but I appreciate everybody stopping by. Good to see you, Ernest, again. Yeah, I saw you and Ernest, you and Tim Weatherspoon Jr. and Skywalker Boxing the other day doing y'all talk. Yeah, after the Wilder. I thought that was interesting what you said about the referee and the Raymond Ford and Nick Ball fight. How he was spinning them, Ernest. That was very interesting. Yeah, that take you had on that. Yeah. Yeah. So they do have a bridgerweight? Yeah, I don't understand that. They need to do something about these weight bullies too. I don't want to get started on weight bullies because I could go another whole hour. You know, they need to put some kind of cap on what these guys can go up after the weigh-in, man, because it's ridiculous. You know, you have people weighing in at one weight, and then by the next night, they fighting in 2 divisions above. You know, where they supposed to be. I hate to keep using Devin as an example, but nobody should be fighting at 165 for a title at 140. You just shouldn't, man. And not just Devin, anybody. But that's just an example. He's not the only one that does it. That just shouldn't happen. I think it should be like 10%. 10% of where you're fighting at. And the bigger guys, naturally bigger guys, could put more weight back on. Like 147, could put 14.7 pounds. 160, you put 16 pounds back on. 175 could put 17.5. It makes sense, right? You're a bigger guy, you put more back on. That's 10% of the contracted weight. That's what you put back on. And then don't do the second weigh in the morning of the fight. Do it right before the ring walk. That way you are right at what you're supposed to weigh at. That way you'll be forced to fight at the weight you're supposed to be at, because you don't have no time to put all that weight back on. So if you're walking around out here 160, 165, you're going to be fighting at middleweight or super middleweight. You're not going to be fighting at 140. That makes sense to me. Yeah. But they really need to address that weight bullying, because it's crazy, man. Crazy. You got these guys in there fighting, and they're really in 2 weight divisions. They're not even they're in the same weight division when they weigh in, but by the time they fight, they're not even in the same weight division anymore. See it all the time. Look at that big giant Saturday, the middleweight guy. What was it? Shiraz. He should be at 175 or something. Fighting at 160. Yeah. It's not fair. And plus it's dangerous. It's dangerous. That's why they made weight divisions. When they were sitting there coming up with the weight divisions, I'm sure they didn't plan on people gaining 20, 25 pounds by fight night. Fighting 2 divisions up. Somebody fighting at 165 should be at least at 154. They should not be at 140. Not even 147. At least minimum 154. Should be the lowest weight class. If you're going to come in at 165, you should at least be fighting at junior middleweight. So they really need to address that. And weigh in, and then make your ring walk. Not the morning, because if you can put all that weight back from Friday to Saturday night, they got ways they can put a lot back on between Saturday morning and Saturday night too. So weigh in, then make your ring walk to the ring. Yeah. That's how I would do it. There'd be no weight bullying. You would be forced to fight where you belong at. The old school must have been in here for a minute. Yeah, Jack was. Ernest, yeah, I'm going back reading now, yeah. Yeah, we're going to talk about Jack Friday. In depth, yeah. But we getting ready to have The Voice coming up next. Okay, I'm gonna have to find 2 likes somewhere. I'll get them. But I appreciate everybody rocking with me today. Big audience. Okay. William Old Schooler Rant, #JBT. Ernest Johnson. Ori Faints, #JBT. Melanin Queen 27. Ray Patterson, straight out of New Jersey. I Serve 88, hashtag JBT. J Hardcore, hashtag JBT. D for the Win, Gregory Pratt, aka GP, hashtag JBT. Just Do Boxing, The Voice, Bruce Gas Boxing, Jazz, and more. Tim Layton, hashtag JBT. Ryan Frazier, hope you enjoyed yourself and hope you come back again, Ryan. Glad to have you. Mike Mazik, Thomas Morris, The Boxing Menu Podcast Plus, Let's Talk Fashion, aka Remo, hashtag JBT. Thomas Hill, hashtag JBT. And Miss Cass, hashtag JBT. Executive Vice President of Cass Sports. And y'all know she the brains behind the operation, right? Not me. But I appreciate everybody. Stop by tomorrow. We're going to talk about some ring announcers. We'll try to find this lady Ernest was talking about. And now it's time for Just Do Boxing coming up in 5 minutes. Everybody have a great day. That's what.